Thank you guys so much for watching. We are here with Mark Pearce, the director of the film, and Elle Lawless with the Wilderness Society. So thank you guys so much for joining the Freeland Film Festival. I wanted to get this conversation started with you, Mark, to ask you what the Pilliga Forest means to you and how you got started with this project.
Thanks, Dawn, and thanks everyone for watching the film and being part of this amazing, incredible, important film festival. So many diverse subjects that you guys are covering right across the world, and we appreciate you guys really, giving us here in Australia a platform to really bring awareness to what is going on in the Pilliga Forest. And to answer your question, my involvement with the Pilliga Forest in this particular coal seam gas campaign, which has been going for about 10 or 12 years now in the area, goes back to 2012, 2013, when I began with producing a couple of shorter films with other local community members. And I guess, just starting the conversation. That's what the shorter films were about, sort of 10 years ago. And of course, there are so many different issues attached to this particular project, as you would have just seen in the film. So that was just a small taste of what was to come. And then 3 years ago now, 2017, or the start of 2018, I should say, we started the development for this longer project to put out into community screenings in community halls and cinemas and so forth, to really push this message, because as we know now, as we speak, we're only a week or two away of the Independent Planning Commission coming to their decision on this project, which will just begin with 850 gas wells in this magnificent region, again, as you've just seen in the film. So the reasoning behind and what the Pilliga means to me is it actually represents the true Australian bush in terms of the forest itself. When you go out there, you really listen to all the animals and the birds, and it really does bring home Australia. It really does, and I think anyone that's been out there will say something very similar. And of course, the community is so strong out there. Again, as you've probably just witnessed in the film, the one thing that this community, the Coal Seam Gas Project, is influence people to do is to bring them together, and that's everyone from community environmentalists right through to Indigenous people, through to farmers. And of course, the farmers and the environmentalists didn't actually see eye to eye about 10 or 12 years ago when all of this began, but now they are on the same page. And of course, it is all around the importance of water, and I guess that's what the Pilliga means to me, because the water is the Great Artesian Basin is underneath the Pilliga, which is it's obviously so important for not just the Pilliga region, but the rest of Australia.
Yeah. One thing that really stood out to me when I watched your film the first time, you kind of just touched on it, but was how diverse the cast of subjects that you had were. From the Indigenous woman who is an artist, so it was different kinds of people who do very different things, like you're saying. Was it hard for you to connect to those different types of people?
Yeah, in a filmic way, and be able to tell the story that between four different diverse stories and people was difficult. It could have been much easier to make a story on just one of those characters that you've seen and make it a 15, 20-minute film. But I guess part of the Wilderness Society and their work in the past is not just about one issue, and this particular project, this coal seam gas project in the Pilliga, isn't just about one issue. We're seeing food, farming, water, Indigenous, community in itself, the people are so important. The animals are extremely important, and the nature right through the Pilliga is important. So it was difficult, because it's very easy, as a filmmaker will know, that a film can easily get watered down when you push too many issues and subjects within a given time frame. And so yeah, it was difficult to mould them together, and you'll see a couple of those musical montage sequences which just help thread things together to bring the narrative, connecting in some way, where these people are in the same areas, or albeit being quite a large area of like 100 odd kilometres difference between some of the subjects where they live, but obviously pulling it all back to the Pilliga itself, and I guess the Indigenous issue really threads everything, because that's where it all began, right? That's without them looking after it for thousands of generations, we wouldn't have what we had today. So, we're the benefactors of enjoying that, and we certainly don't want it destroyed.
Yeah. Well, I think it was really well balanced. So I thought it was really cool to see that stood out to me right away. And Elle, as someone who's working in the community and working in this campaign, what is the community like, and community representation, and how do people in general feel about the campaign and what's going on?
Yeah, thanks, Dawn, and thanks everyone for watching this beautiful, really important film. The community in northwest New South Wales, so around the Pilliga Forest, they're incredibly strong and unified. And I think that was demonstrated really clearly when just over the last few months, we've been making opposition to the project again through a regulatory body within the state government to stop the project. And there were over 10,000 objections, and 95% of those, 10,000 submissions, and 95% of them were objections, which is amazing and really shows that defiance against the project. Yeah, I agree, Dawn. It was an incredible effort, and huge diversity, which I think Mark's done a really excellent job of reflecting in the film, and showing that it's people from all walks of life who've come together for different reasons who want to stop the gas field. And I have so much respect for the local community who've been fighting this project for over a decade. And they're very strong and very well connected with each other. Yeah, my hat goes off to them. My family's originally from the region, so my grandma still lives out there, and I feel very connected to that land as well.
Oh, beautiful. So Freeland Film Festival is a festival. Our tagline is Stories That Inspire, and we really focus on sharing stories that have a purpose and impact. And Mark, I was wondering if you could touch on that in your kind of broader filmmaking career. I know that beyond just this film, it's important to you to make stories that have an impact. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Good question, Dawn. I guess why I ended up in making films, social impact films, from my background as a commercial television producer and a lot of corporate videos and so forth in the past, is, we see a lot of mainstream news which produces a lot of fear, and I guess stories like the Pilliga, people in the Pilliga, they don't really get their voices heard that well, and if they do, it's a snippet, and so the rest of the country or the rest of the world don't really get an understanding of who these people are and what they do, and so I amalgamated my skills and knowledge of commercial producing into the environmental social impact realm, through a personal profile approach, I guess, as well as, and surrounding that with, beautiful imagery, which of course is what these places like the Pilliga actually are. They're incredibly beautiful places. And so that was important for me to, to be able to show people that, and for a lot of people in the world, it is a place where they can't actually go to because it is so remote. They can, but it's quite a drive for a lot of Australians to actually get to. That first and foremost is to use the visual medium, wisely and show the impact of what this place is. Obviously through aerials can show the distance and the vastness of this beautiful forest, which, I think, Elle, it's one of the largest inland forests in Eastern Australia. So it's significant.
It's the largest intact forest in Eastern Australia. And it's, really full of life and richness and wonder, as Mark's captured, and all of the precious birds and echidnas and kangaroos and goannas and koalas. It's a really special forest.
And so just to quickly sum up, getting back to a lot of our media is fear-based, and working with commercial or commercials, television commercials, it's based on fear and desire, how you make a commercial, and certainly the environment of everything around us on this planet should be under that cause of desire. It should be what we're looking forward to desire rather than fear. So it was about trying to switch the mindset around, okay, sure, there's a lot of disaster and awful things going on with the idea of implementing 850 wells in the Pilliga, but it should be really about, let's have a look at who these people actually are as human beings, what they do for their communities. And so that's kind of if you look at a lot of my other films in the past, that's kind of the track I've really focused on, is really that positivity and the inspirational side of the human being and what they're doing in connection with the environment. And I feel that works as long as it's obviously executed correctly and gets the point across and shows the beauty of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important work to do, and I think you did it really beautifully. So thank you.
Thank you.
Elle, I was wondering if you could give us an update on the campaign. And as Mark mentioned, I know you guys are have things really actively going on right now. And if there's any way people who are watching right now can show their support.
Thanks, Dawn. So as Mark said, there's over the last few months, the campaign's really ramped up and hit a crucial moment, which is where the New South Wales government were looking at getting final approvals for the gas field to be built. So it was really the crux of the campaign and like crunch time for stopping the gas field. So we mobilised thousands of submissions objecting to the project, which was really amazing, especially under the difficult circumstances with coronavirus at the moment too, that, while we were keeping our community safe and keeping everyone separated as well, that we managed to have that many objections. And right now the Independent Planning Commission, apologies, some complicated state government politics there, but they're waiting to either approve the project or reject the project based on the objections and submissions that they've received. So the level of evidence from local communities, so farmers, First Nations peoples, economic experts, environmental experts. So they've gotten all that evidence now, and they'll make that decision on the 30th of September. So we're gearing up for what we'll do, the next steps there with either way. If the project's rejected, which is the ideal circumstance, then we'll have a big party and we'll all celebrate this amazing effort from so many different people over the last decade. And then we'll be working to ensure that the forests can maintain, be protected for good and be managed by Indigenous people as it should be. If the project is approved, then we will keep fighting and we'll keep going. We can still stop the money, stop the insurance, or set up blockades in the forest if we have to, but it's so important. It needs to be protected. And thank you all for watching and for your support on this campaign as well. If you want to help right now, it's really great just to get the message out there. So no CSG for the Pilliga. you can be contacting the New South Wales government, but also you can be donating to First Nations organisations, because at this moment we all know that we need to be supporting people of colour and Indigenous knowledge and wisdom. So Gamilaroi and Gomeroi peoples really need support at this time too, because it is their country and their land, so we need to be putting their voices first.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much. This was really lovely to get to talk to you, and thank you for making the time when we're like all the way across the world. This is great.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn, and really appreciate again you and your team, because you're at this time, as we know, coronavirus is really just smashing the airways, and it's hard for anything else to get a look in media-wise. So hats off to you guys for continuing this festival and making it online for people to go in and yeah, obviously bringing awareness to so many amazing films and important issues.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. Well, bye, you guys.
Thanks guys.
Bye.
See ya.